Hello, beautiful souls. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's another lunch and learn. Good morning, Miss Bailey. Sipping on some water. What are you sipping on this morning? I know you got something. I decided to be out in nature today. It is. It's probably about around 60 degrees right about now. So it's getting a little cooler at night than what I would particularly like. Maybe I'm not a California girl. Maybe I am a Caribbean girl. But I can't complain. The sun is out. We had a couple days of rain over the weekend, but awesome water. But you know what? It's beautiful today, and that's the thing, is it gets kind of cool, but then the temperature pops back up. We got another Bailey. Hey, Jen. Did you guys all go and grab the notes from my website so you can follow along? I know you did, because you're awesome. 72 and sunny in Boston. You get it, girl. I know you're outside getting some sun today. Get that natural vitamin D. Well, hey, Art. Art, have you set up an account on my website so you can go grab the notes? On the move today, listening as I walk. That's what's up. That's a good way, because then your emotional brain and your logical brain are working hard on taking the information in and processing it. That's what's up. All right, we're going to wait another minute or so, and then we will get busy. What's everybody drinking? Bailey May, what are you drinking? Art, what are you drinking? I got just some water this morning. Turkey Day's in a couple weeks. Is everybody ready? After 2 cups of coffee, only water. Absolutely, ma'am. And that probably should have only been 1 cup of coffee. Or half and half. But that gives you some energy to move around. Good morning, somewhere in between life. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't set up an account yet on my website, go do that and grab the notes that we're going to be talking from today. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get busy so we can get done in an hour, because as you can see from the notes, I have included a lot of information. But if you know me, you know I love to share information. So let's get busy. So this is going to be kind of a combination of talking about seasonal depression and additional anxiety or increased anxiety from COVID, because there's going to be a lot of gray space between those two. And again, if you know me, the most important thing is to remember that you do not need to be fixed. This is not something that has to be fixed, because you only fix furniture and cars. We don't fix people. You are beautiful just as you are. Seasonal depression, anxiety, all of that is included. You are beautiful just as you are. So we are not going to worry about getting fixed. And it's important to have that mindset so that you can heal and you can grow rather than trying to be fixed, which I really struggle with that terminology with a lot of therapists. So the thing about seasonal depression as well as anxiety is that there is some misfiring happening in our brain. And think of the neuron connectors in our brain as a highway system. And when there is a, kind of like with a highway, when there's a construction zone, you'll get rerouted. And so the same thing is similar with our brain, is that the neurotransmitters are impacted. And so that's how mental health stuff evolves. And a lot of that has to come into play with hormones. and different hormonal levels. Lots and lots of hormones, can't name them all. But with the seasonal depression, the point is to increase serotonin and reduce melatonin. Melatonin is of course what helps us get relaxed and get sleepy. And because the daylight is decreased, then the body creates maybe a little bit too much melatonin, and that's why you have that effect of being sleepy or being super relaxed or lethargic. So we want to be able to increase our serotonin to balance out that melatonin. Now with anxiety and pretty much anxiety of any kind, whatever the particular anxiety label is that the goal is to decrease the cortisol, because that's what happens when we get into that fight or flight stage, when we are met with stress, is we try to figure out, okay, am I in danger? Do I need to react to this? Or have I seen this before and I got it, it's cool, I know what to do. When it's time to do the fight or flight, because you're like, okay, this is danger, then our body creates cortisol and adrenaline begins pumping, and that's when oxygen gets rerouted. All of your resources get rerouted to your limbs so that you can either bail or you can fight. And so the point of anxiety is to reduce the cortisol and increase the serotonin and the feel-good stuff like dopamine and oxytocin. So that's kind of what I based these notes on, is so there would be a real simplistic understanding of why these particular activities are going to be beneficial in either increasing serotonin or decreasing cortisol and adrenaline. So, again, when there's heightened stress, the brain interprets that as danger, the hormones. But make sure if you aren't working with a professional, make sure that you are talking to them, get some blood work done. It is so important to understand where your hormone levels are, and don't just go with it's okay in a range, because if you're on the low end of the range, like when I got a shit ton of blood work done probably about 4 years ago, my vitamin D was on the very bottom of the range, but it was impacting me. So make sure that if you get blood work done, that you ask for a copy of that. You can also get blood work ordered yourself. The plan that I used is My Med plan, or My Med Works. If you want that information, let me know and I can provide that to you, where you can order your own blood work and you can order exactly what you want, and it's very, very reasonable. But that's information, because if there's certain hormones that are out of whack, we need to be able to address that with your professional that can help you do that. So, symptoms. And this is not an exhaustive list, but man, I did not want to bore you with the symptoms. So, take a look at the symptoms and see if any of those are symptoms that you can identify with. And if you feel safe and comfortable, put one in the comment of the one that you really struggle with the most. And maybe we can brainstorm together and talk about what that looks like so we can share information. So take a couple minutes, look at that list. If you feel comfortable, put in the comments which one that you struggle with. And I'm going to as well. So for me, all the time, sleep disturbance. Last night I actually got a decent amount of sleep. Like I said, it's kind of chilly at night. It's getting down to like 47, 48 at night. Now, just to walk outside to your car and come back inside, that's not a big deal. But when you're like sleeping outside, and this is where gratitude comes in, because I'm at least in a sheltered space, that's pretty cool. So I've actually got a little heater that's coming that will help with that. So I'm excited, and I'm hoping that will maybe help with a little bit of the sleep disturbance. But I take herbals, and I'm really trying to be cognizant. And I don't know if it's an age thing, because you do lose that sleep as you get older, or if I don't know. I'm still working on it. It's a never-ending process. All right, so we've got someone that says sleep disturbance as well. Yes, the insomnia crew, reduced motivation, fatigue, apathy. Absolutely. We got loss of interest and hopelessness. And, and the hopelessness is definitely something that's tag teaming what's going on in the world. It is so difficult right now to be able to understand that the world is evolving as well, and the world has growing pains right now. And to separate ourselves from that and understand and remember that we only have control of one person. That's it. And to focus on what we have control over versus what's going on in the world. But I definitely get it, hopelessness. So the symptoms are very, very real. And again, with seasonal depression and anxiety, a lot of them will overlap and they will be very similar. Increased anxiety due to COVID. There's a lot of other ones that go hand in hand, like fear of becoming ill, fear of being in social situations because of the virus, and fear of getting sick and taking that home to your loved ones, to your parents, to your grandparents, over cleaning, excessive washing of hands, where now you're kind of flirting with OCD a little bit maybe. And again, it's about the brain is struggling with the concept of control. And so if I do these things, then I will have better control, which of course it's just an illusion, because at the end of the day, washing your hands 25 times is not going to change the possibility of you getting COVID or any other germ. So, all right, so let's get into the coping skills and let's kind of dissect what hormones are released with those particular coping skills. Now, of course, we all have heard staying connected is super important. Staying connected to friends and family. And again, with COVID right now, that has been challenging. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of over this in terms of being able to talk to my friends and talk to my family. If you weren't around particular people at the onset of this earlier in the year, then it's tough, because you don't want to bring and you don't want to catch, the virus. I was so happy that, I had been around my grandbaby, that I could continue to have that interaction with him, because one of my greatest fears is that I would take something back to him. And the reality is he's probably the one that would be least impacted. He's a baby, and we know that it's not impacted. People are not impacted that much the younger they are, as long as they're in pretty good health. So staying connected. And what happens is that you have things like dopamine and oxytocin that are released. And those are feel-good emotions. So even though I know you're saying, well, Wendy, but staying connected is not going to take away me feeling hopeless. Maybe for that moment it might not. But remember, the goal is to do the increase and decrease of particular hormones, which is going to work naturally with your brain chemistry. And if you do it enough, you're going to be successful. So staying connected, and it's not going to be one thing that's going to work. It's going to be an accumulation of a lot of different things that you're doing in your world. So staying connected. And the dopamine and oxytocin supports the production and secretion of serotonin. And we need that. So stay connected and be creative with it. Of course, here we are in November. We've been doing this crap for 8 months now. We're all over it. We are all low on the creative juices. But that's okay. Just stay connected, whether that's through text messaging, whether that's through video chat, whether that's through hollering at your neighbor across the driveway. If you live on a street that you're normally really close with your neighbors, set up a block party with social distancing. Again, it's about being creative and keeping those connections going. All right, next one, create a mental health toolbox. Now, this is something I used to do with the kids that I worked with, that I did community-based services with, is go and grab a bag or a basket, whatever feels good to you, and you just start putting things in there that are helpful and distracting, particularly if they use both hands, because then now you begin to do some mindfulness. So Maybe it's Sudoku, maybe it's word searches, maybe it's crossword puzzles, maybe it's silly putty, maybe it's a Rubik's Cube, knitting, crocheting, cards, whatever that might be. But the point is to have them all together so that when you begin to feel a particular way, maybe you begin to feel a little hopeless, you're like, okay, let me go grab my mental health toolbox. Let me go grab my basket. Let me go grab my bag and let me come out of this hopeless place and let me focus on an activity, on being mindful. And again, that's going to help decrease your cortisol. And that's what we're aiming to do with anxiety, is we want to decrease that cortisol. Go to Dollar Tree. So many things. You can create one heck of a mental health toolbox with $20 at Dollar Tree, even $10 at Dollar Tree. And just keep that stuff close with you. Keep them in a backpack if you're on the move all the time. Keep them so that when you go to appointments, keep them so when you go to the grocery store, whatever that means. Maybe you carry a stress ball with you, and you can be mindful with that stress ball. You can feel the texture, the outside of it. How much do I have to squeeze to be able to collapse it fully? Are there ridges on it? What are the colors on it? And that's going to take you out of your mind, which is where you're at if you have that anxiety, so that you're able to do something that takes you out of the brain and puts you into an intentional space. Add to it all the time. Those are great gifts to give. If you're wondering what the holidays look like and you've got a family or a friend or someone that you know struggles with anxiety, create a mental health toolbox, a starter kit for them, and give that to them as a gift. What a greater expression of love than to be able to let them know that you understand what they're experiencing and that you understand. And this is what works for me, and I'm sharing information, and you're staying connected. All right, let's keep it going. Move more, sit less. I struggle with that. I can't even lie. The beauty about living in the van right now is that I have to walk Blue. There's no opening the back door and letting him run outside, and then when I remember opening the door and letting him back in. I have to move around. But the other beautiful thing is I get to do it by the beach. So we probably take about one good hour walk a day, and then several little walks throughout the day. And for me and my age group, walking is very, very beneficial in combination with strength training. So I've got some weights in the van. I'm not always good about using them, but I have them there. And I don't beat myself up if I don't. I just remember that I am a process that continues to evolve. So, with being lethargic and fatigued and that hopelessness, moving can be about dancing. I know there's some folks out there that enjoy cleaning. Kickboxing. Put a YouTube video on. There's so many 10-minute videos out there that you can watch. Gardening. Do an inside herb garden that you can put in your window that you can tend to. Weightlifting. Like I said, the free weights. The point is to move, because you're going to get those endorphins going. And what happens when you get those endorphins going? You are contributing to the production of serotonin. And if we do that enough, even if we just did these three things, stay connected, you have your mental health toolbox, and you're moving, you are constantly reducing cortisol and constantly working on the production of serotonin. Even if you just did them a couple times a day, you are in that direction. So I'm going to quit talking for a second. What is one of those activities that you enjoy moving? What's an activity that you do that's moving? And even yoga. Yoga, stretching, those are all activities that you can do that are going to promote and help with serotonin production. I like dancing. Dancing is also a mindfulness activity. But you guys didn't know that. Well, you might have. But dancing, because guess what? When you're dancing, you're not in your mind. You're paying attention to the music, you're feeling the music, and you're moving. So what do you guys like to do for movement? Especially when you're in a colder geographic location and you're kind of limited to the outdoors, what do you like to do for movement? Bailey, you're out there walking. Jen, what do you like to do for movement? Yoga for sure, walking around the city, yes. And doing yoga, I know there's a lot of free live streaming yogas right now because you've got, yoga teachers that have to have a certain amount of teaching hours. So get on Facebook and just type in free online yoga or free streamed yoga, something like that. Jen says yoga, walking, weights. Cleaning is actually one of my favorites, and the end result makes me feel peaceful. Absolutely. So just be intentional about it. Like, what are the particular things that you want to accomplish? Because achievement is another dopamine producer, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So if you're cleaning and that's what you enjoy doing and that's what you dig, then look through the house and what is it you need to do? I mean, when you live in any space, you constantly have dust. That's our dead skin sloughing off. Naturally, dust comes in from outside. So there's always cleaning to do, but be intentional about it. That's the important thing. Because then if you set out to do one particular thing rather than just kind of milling around the house doing different stuff, then, oh, good. Okay, so Jen shared Yogi Approved is a good free resource for yoga videos. Absolutely. I'm going to write that down. Yogi Approved. Cool. Because I know in Kansas City, I think Karma Tribe did a lot of free yoga. And of course, here we are now where we can't do that for them to get their hours. So not only are you having an activity that you can enjoy, but you're also helping someone who is learning and progressing as well. Thanks for sharing that, ma'am. So if cleaning is your gig, make it intentional. Just be sure to make it intentional. Walking, I'm going to walk this amount of time, or I'm going to walk this amount of distance. Gardening, no better activity than to set up a little window herb garden right now, because then you can have your lemon balm, some lavender's really hard to grow, basil, oregano. Those are all ones that grow really easily indoors, and you can use them for your cooking. So if cooking is your thing, you're being intentional with having those herbs that you can put into your food. All right, gratitude. This is a huge one. And it's a tough one because in most of our minds, we're like, well, I am grateful. And of course, there's not a day that goes by that we don't at some point, all of us say, I'm so grateful for, and then you can fill in the blank. But the key is to be intentional about it. That's kind of a running theme, is being intentional. So having gratitude intentionally really trains your brain to look at things from being like a half full cup to a empty cup to a half full cup. And again, if you know me and we've talked it all, gratitude and mindfulness is to the brain what cardio is to the body. It is so necessary. But gratitude, science backs. It releases dopamine. It releases oxytocin, which of course is going to help with the production of serotonin. So again, if you just did these 4 things on the front of this handout, you're going to be kicking butt and taking names because you're going to have a lot of dopamine that is being produced. Now, I get it. When you're fatigued and you feel hopeless, and there's no motivation, then the key is to get motivated. But remember, if you're intentional about it and you put it on your calendar and make it an appointment, because guess what? Even though we might have no motivation, we still get up and go to work, right? Because we have a payoff at the end. It's payday. It's a check. It's what keeps our world going. So try to think of it that way, is that make an appointment with yourself and what's the payoff. And just remind yourself of what the payoff is over and over again until you are able to get through that impasse and you're able to have the motivation to keep going. And I know it's a struggle. Find a buddy, an accountability partner. If you need one, I can be your accountability partner. I check in with you. the point is just make sure that you are getting some of these things built into your calendar on purpose. Create a command center where you have a whiteboard where you can see it every day, or a cork board where you can see it every day. Include the family so that they're a part of it. If you have anxiety, that's something that, because of our genetics in combination with our environment, a lot of times we inadvertently teach our kids how to be full of anxiety, how to be anxious, how to worry, and we don't want to do that. So make it a family event where you've got that intentional gratitude. Make it fun. There's a lot of ideas on Pinterest that you can roll with. Do colored sticky notes, put it in a jar, share that on Sunday or one time a month, where it's fun and you can have those conversations, because then you're connected and you're hanging out, and so you're still releasing those good hormones. All right, we're going to keep it moving. Eat for wellness. I don't know if I skipped over. Let's go over here. Mindfulness practice. So that just kind of goes right into that same conversation of intentional and being mindful. And again, there are so many activities to do that are not traditional meditation, which, to be honest, it's tough for me to do traditional meditation. But when you're walking, look at the sky, look at the trees. Like right now, the sun's not on me, but I have it on this one patch of my thigh. And so I can feel how warm that is, and that's warmer than the rest of the part of my body. And I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it works. Mindfulness quiets the brain. It says, shh, don't focus on that. Focus on this. And again, if that's the only thing you can do, because you can do that sitting down, you can do that laying down if you're fatigued and you're like, I just don't have any motivation. You can still have mindfulness, and you're still contributing to the production and the elimination of those hormones that are so important right now. All right. Be creative, productive during downtimes. I'm going to download or look into Skillshare. Have you guys heard of Skillshare? I know I've seen it advertised a couple times, and it's kind of a learning community, and I think it's very reasonable. This is a really great time with the weather changing and kind of being in the house more, that focus on learning something new. Heck, it could even turn into a stream of income at some point, maybe. But look at learning something new. If you've got space, set up a craft area. And again, bring the kiddos into it. Bring the family into it. Be creative, and I promise you're going to come out of your brain. And you are releasing dopamine, and that's floating around. Hey, Miss Issa, have you got the handout, honey? Don't forget and grab it. So, be creative. Turn off the TV. Turn your phone on silent. Turn it upside down so you can't see it. And I know that's a struggle, because you know what? It's easy to do this. But guess what? This contributes to anxiety. This contributes to insomnia. And it's an easy fix. You just put it down. Put it on silent and don't deal with it. I've had myself on electronics curfew for years now, and by 9:30, the latest is 10, is my phone is on silent. And I have a do not disturb on there so that no notifications come through, so I don't have to worry about going to each app and turning off notifications. Most smartphones have it. It's a do not disturb. Usually it's like in your display, or I don't know. I have no clue where it would be on an iPhone. But in the Samsung phone, I want to say it's in the notification section, where you just turn the do not disturb on. You don't have to worry about it. And then you can have select people that can still reach you if you want them to be able to. So like kids and family and loved ones, so that if they call or they text or there's an emergency, you still get that contact from them, but everything else is silenced. And that's good to do just on a regular basis, on every day, is to just turn your phone off and not pay attention to it. And lots of science around that being creative helps to contribute to focus, increased concentration and long-term memory. Because what happens is when you are not getting the restorative sleep, that begins to impact memory. That's one of the first things that goes. You have that brain fog all the time. Being creative is going to counteract that, and that's going to help. So ditch the phone, ditch the TV, and be creative. That doesn't mean you have to get them to do anything. You can sit on the couch and color. You can sit on the couch and crochet. Maybe you crochet and you give the hats away to somebody. The possibilities are endless, but the point is just get started and just begin to do something. That can be added to your mental health toolbox. Media distancing, and this is more for the COVID anxiety, the increased COVID anxiety, is that the more that we stay plugged into the media and we're listening to the numbers and we're listening to the deaths and we're listening to the spikes and we're listening to who it impacts, that's just natural for your anxieties to slowly creep up. And that's kind of back burner anxiety that you're not really thinking about intentionally, but you've captured that in your brain and your brain is processing that on that back burner. So just again, don't pay attention to that. Let it go. Don't pay attention on social media. When I get an update once a week or so, and then I don't pay attention to it. I stay in touch enough to be able to know what's happening, but I don't need to know all the numbers all the time. We know that people are being impacted. We know that it probably has touched every one of us on a personal level. And that probably someone that we've been close to or cared about has either gotten sick, is currently sick, or has passed. And so it's touched all of us. So it's really important to not be focused on that TV. And if you're like, oh God, but that's the thing that I do, just start small. Challenge yourself to 15 minutes. Turn the TV off for 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Turn the timer on your phone. And just do that longer and longer. It's like any other skill. Is start small and build up. You don't have to go from, watching TV. I think, what is that? The average American watch TV like 8 to 10 hours a day. I do have to say one of the benefits of van life is I don't have a TV just readily available to turn on. I have my tablet that I stream from, but I don't have the ability to just have it on and be mindless chatter in the background. And you know what? At first I thought that was going to be difficult for me because I do like the white noise of certain, I love to listen to Criminal Minds and Law and Order. And I thought, man, this is going to suck. But I really enjoy the silence of the van. And it's not all the time, but it's a lot. And I definitely can notice in my perspective that my mind is not constantly bombarded with the outside world and what's happening. So give yourself some distance. And remember that electronics curfew is so important, because if you're able to turn those electronics off early enough, you're encouraging the melatonin to begin to be produced and to be released. The electronics have the light attached to it, and that light keeps our brain activated. We don't want our brain activated. We want our brain to chill out and be able to get ready for rest. Which takes us to the next topic, is rest and sleep. This is one I struggle with. And the pivotal moment for me was probably 2014, 2015, when I really began to notice that the insomnia and the sleep disturbance was kicking in. And there's a lot of reasons why that happened, and I'm not going to go into that today. But that's where I noticed that my circadian rhythm really began to be off. And that was contributed to by gut health. But it's so important to get that rest. Even if you don't do anything else, make sure you're getting the rest. And it has to be good restorative rest, where you're actually like dreaming and you are getting that 6 to 8 hours. The news drives me crazy. Absolutely. It's a struggle. Because it's constantly, we're being bombarded with negativity. And so if you're already struggling with a lot of back burner anxiety, it's kind of like having this low burning fire, and then you take a can of lighter fluid or gas and you go, and then the fire goes, and that's what happens when that media is bombarding you all the time. One of the things I do miss is that I would go to sleep to the TV and I would put it on the timer so it would go off. And I might have that on my tablet, and I need to figure out if there's a timer on my tablet to turn it off. If you have an iPad, and if you know if that exists, let me know. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. So, it's okay to go to sleep to the TV, but you don't want to sleep with the TV on. It's going to wake you up. There's going to be a loud noise. The light is going to be on, and that's going to activate your brain. Hey, it's time to get up. And no, it's not time to get up. It's time to stay asleep. But if you've got too much cortisol, adrenaline, which is kind of what happened to me 6 years ago, because I wasn't managing my stress well, is that cortisol keeps you pumped up and keeps you awake, and it keeps you in this very hyper place, and this, I got to get ready to do something. I just don't know what. So that's why it's important to go get some blood work done and see where your cortisol levels are. See when your cortisol is spiking. See when your melatonin is happening. That's important, because then you can begin to develop a strategy on being able to counter that and get that back on track. If we have too much cortisol in our bloodstream and we're not releasing it, it's going to cause additional mental health issues for you. You might not have it right now. If you're young, I would say under 35 or 40, it doesn't impact you as much as it does begin to impact you once you hit 40 and your body begins to slow down naturally from the aging process. I promise you, it'll kick in. It's just a time bomb waiting to happen. Good morning, DJ Blends. So, we're going to flip over on the last sheet. Eat for wellness. Again, if you're only able to do one thing, eating for mental health is easy. There are foods that help with the production and the secretion of serotonin. You want that tryptophan. Tryptophan is directly responsible for the production of serotonin. Turkey is natural tryptophan. Eggs, bananas, kiwi, tomatoes, cheese, pineapples, tofu, salmon, all of your nuts and seeds, and my favorite, dark chocolate. Yes, baby. Dark chocolate helps with the production of serotonin. Now, let me preface that by saying you have to be in moderation. Balance serving size. And you want it to be 70 to 80% dark chocolate. You don't want milk chocolate. It has to be dark chocolate. That's what's going to help. So maybe you eat a little piece of dark chocolate in the evening. I do. Lily's makes a candy bar that's sweetened with stevia versus sugar. And I think there's another sweetener in there. I can't remember what it is. But having that chocolate bar and that it's sweetened with stevia versus sugar, you're doing two things at one time. So eat those foods that have got the tryptophan. They're going to naturally help you create that serotonin. All the berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, they actually help reduce your cortisol. Have desserts that are centered around berries. Our kids right now are struggling with increased anxiety and the fear of becoming sick, the fear of dying. They're going to eat that and not even know that it's helping them in an indirect way. But as the parent, as the caregiver, you're going to know. So, have smoothies that are made out of berries. You can have the actual raw berries. You can make all kinds of desserts that are going to have those berries in them. And you are helping to reduce the cortisol naturally. Make sure you're getting your B12 in and your omegas and your folic acid. All of those are used for the production of serotonin. If you're vegetarian, B12 is super important. I utilize a spray that goes under my tongue so I absorb it pretty quickly. But there are pills you can take. Make sure that you're getting a good quality supplement. Do not go to Wally World and buy supplements, please. Please do not go to Wally World and buy supplements. Do not go to Target and buy supplements. Spend a little bit extra, even if you can only get one supplement a week, and go to somewhere that has reputable brands. Natural Grocers, Sprouts, Whole Foods, Nature's Own in Kansas City. Just look up, Google it, and find somewhere. Gaia Herbs is one of my favorites. They have a website, GAIA, and they have extremely good quality herbs, and they're not that much more expensive. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but it might have been 4 or 5 years ago that I think it was Walmart, Walgreens, and I want to say the Vitamin Shop had some random testing done on their products, and many of their supplements were not what they were packaged to be. There was one particular supplement, and I can't remember which one, but it was one of the capsules, and there was sawdust inside the capsule. That can be good for us. So make sure you're getting a very reputable and a good quality supplement. Vitamin D3 is essential. As someone with seasonal depression, someone with chronic pain, D3 is everything to me. I take a 2500 IU every day, and if I need to, I pop it up to 5000 IU. That was one of those that was extremely low when I got my blood work done, and it was in that okay range. It was like at the very bottom, and so it didn't get flagged. And I looked at my results, and that was one of the things I asked my provider about. It was like, I'm here. Do I need to start supplementing? And of course they said no, but I did it anyway, and that's kind of my nature. B2, I don't know. B12. Did I put B2? Well, B12, I don't know. Educate us, DJ Blends. What does B2 do? I know B12, B6, B3, those are all super important ones. There's also, if you are a vegetarian, Gaia has an inflammation blend, or an omega blend, and it's got, so your flaxseed, your chia seed, those are all super high in omegas. So you can put those in smoothies, you can put it in yogurt, you can put it in breads that you cook. All of those, again, nobody's going to really know that they're there. But you're helping to up your levels in your body so that you can create that serotonin. I don't know, B2. Let's Google that really quick. Because you know what? I do not know it all. B2 vitamin. So, you're asking me. Okay, well, look, I went to Google because I don't know off the top of my head. That's going to help with production and supplementing the riboflavin. And it's essential for human health, of course. All the Bs are essential. You can get a B complex as well. I say B12 as a vegetarian because I know that you capture B12 in a lot of meat products. I do eat dairy, but I don't eat meat. I eat fish every now and then. And okay, so B2 helps convert food carbs into fuel, which is glucose. So Bailey Tan says Holier makes a great daily multi for vegetarians and vegans. You told me that before, and I need to check that out. I also have a daily supplement, an herbal supplement that I actually created myself, and I need to take it. I think it might be in storage. I need to go grab that. So B2 helps with the metabolism of fats and proteins, so it gives us energy. So a B complex is something that we probably all need to take anyway, but B12 in particular is going to help with energy and the production of serotonin. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. Pay it forward. You know what? That is such an important one. And it can be tough right now because, again, of the social distancing. But, if you've got a special skill or talent, or if you enjoy being able to give your time to people, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, CASA is a great one. which CASA is an acronym for Court Appointed Special Advocate. And those are going to be the people that represent the best interest of the child that might be in the system. I did that probably 10 or 15 years ago. It was a great experience. Pet shelters. Check in with older communities, even though you might not be able to work directly with the older folks there. You never know what they have that they might need you to help with. If you make something, if you remember the crocheting, crochet hats and scarves and give those away to people, give them away to homeless people. Put together homeless packages. You can go to Dollar Tree. I did this for probably 3 years. I would go buy purses at the thrift store on 50-cent day, and I would fill them with goodies from Dollar Tree. And you can order Dollar Tree stuff online in bulk. You don't have to go. And so I would put those together and I would donate those to the DV shelters. So just being able to give of yourself, you're coming out of your brain and you're focusing on something else that you're doing intentionally. It is a wonderful, wonderful way to ease anxiety as well as come out of that place of fatigue or feeling bad for yourself, because we do. We absolutely do. But you're producing oxytocin, and that's that feel-good chemical, and we need that. You get oxytocin from hugs and kisses. The Boys and Girls Club, always looking for volunteers. Yes, thank you, DJ Blends. That's absolutely right. And again, it might not be direct contact because of what's going on, but maybe putting together the backpack snacks that go home. Maybe it's providing snacks. Maybe it's tutoring, virtual tutoring. Who knows what it could be? But figure out what brings you pleasure and joy, and what group of people you like to work with, or what kind of things you enjoy doing, and search for that. Maybe, dog walking for older people because the weather's bad right now and they don't want to come outside. Figure out what it is. I know in almost every city, I know in Kansas City, there is a the United Way has a connection to being able to volunteer for particular organizations. So if you look up United Way for your particular city, you can find places that are looking for volunteers. Maybe it's because there's an organization maybe a nonprofit that needs to be repainted. And so they need folks to help paint. Habitat for Humanity, that is a great one. You're outdoors, so the social distancing is natural. You're working with your hands. You're talking to people. Look, you've knocked off 3 or 4 things from this list of being able to reduce your cortisol and increase your serotonin. And that's our objective. So pay it forward. Have a buddy. So Bailey Tan says she's looking for opportunities to pay it forward. She's a good photographer. Bailey, put your website up, honey, so we can go check you out. DJ Blend says United Way is a strong support for the Boys and Girls Club. Absolutely. Domestic violence shelters, they again need things donated, and maybe you can go cook for them for the holiday. Just start getting on the phone and just start asking, make a list of things that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy cooking, then go cook. If you enjoy gardening or you like to do construction, work with your hands, figure out what it is that you enjoy doing, and then find an organization or persons or someone that can benefit from you coming to do that for them, because that's how you're helping them and you're helping yourself at the same time. Bailey Tan, put your website up for us, sweetie. Well, you are a good photographer, but food photographer, absolutely. So that might be up and coming bloggers. That's a good one to put out there. I know a foodie right now that could possibly use your services, because she doesn't really her business has not built to the point of where she's able to pay somebody, but she needs someone that can really come in and take those pictures for her. So if you want to connect with her, let me know and I can connect you guys. Put that on your social media that you're looking for opportunities to do some food photography for either free or low cost. You'll be surprised at what people need, but they don't think that people will help them, and so they don't share. So there is her website, baileytan.work. Awesome. All right, let's keep it moving. We got a couple more. A therapy light. Now, I meant to grab mine out of storage, but the therapy light I have is probably about this big. It's not as big a size as paper. If you're going to get a therapy light, get a blue therapy light. Research so it's a lot more effective than a white light. You sit in front of that 20, 30 minutes a day, an hour a day while you're working, while you're putting on makeup, while you're watching TV. Just make sure that you're not using it too late in the day, because it's going to help with the production of serotonin and being awake and alert. And by 3 p.m., we begin on that downward journey with not needing, we need the melatonin instead. And so those chemicals and those hormones begin to flip-flop. So the therapy light is awesome. I did that for a long time. Now I'm in a space where I'm really intentional about getting out in the sun. But make sure that when you get it, it is a therapy light, and that you read the description. And if you want that information, I can send you the link to the one I bought off of Amazon. I want to say it was like $90. But it lasts forever. And I think the bulbs are LED bulbs, so it lasts forever. But that can be essential to really getting that circadian rhythm back on track, especially if you're doing other things that are going to really complement your mental wellness and getting that restorative sleep. Therapy light is invaluable. Lots of research out there to support that it does in fact work and help contribute positively. This is a huge one. Structure and scheduling. With the pandemic and COVID, a lot of us have been left to work from home, which is awesome. There's no doubt about that. But if you're someone that thrives with structure, and you know that about yourself, then create your structure. You don't have to have a 9-to-5 job to have the structure. You can do that for yourself. It takes a little front end work, and it does take a little discipline, because quite frankly, it's easy to screw off all day if you don't have a set structure and you don't have someone to answer to and you're not punching a clock. But structure is super important. And the reason that it's important is because anxiety is basically the manifestation of the unknown, of fear. If we don't know what to expect or what's happening, then back burner, kind of like when our phone battery is draining, the charge is draining because there's apps just sucking it dry. Back burner, you are worried about what the day looks like. You're worried about being productive. You're worried about what people are going to think. You're worried about if you're going to upset someone. You're worried about it. I mean, the list just goes on and on. DJ Blend says, I need structure. Absolutely. Many of us thrive with structure. And of course, there's always exceptions. I know people that kind of just float around and they do what they do. And hey, I'm kind of jealous of them. I wish I could do that. That's not who I am. I'm a recovering type A personality, and I need structure. I need to know what the day is going to look like. I need to know what I need to get accomplished, because for me, I need to be able to have that achievement. And I am a list writer, and I like to scratch those things off the list. There is no shame in my game whatsoever. So, structure a schedule. And again, it doesn't have to be rigid. It just has to be that you know what to expect. So again, create a command center of some kind at home, where you have a whiteboard, where you have a cork board, where you have something up on the wall that gives you that visual every day. If you're someone that is visual, create a vision board. I'm probably going to do one of our lunch and learns on the vision board, probably in mid-December, where we can talk about what that looks like and how do you plan and carry that out. But have a place that is your home base. Like, this is my home base. This is my planner. And this is actually a manifestation planner. And it's got all kinds of great questions and things for me to reflect on. Do I always get that done? No, I don't. But I'm at the park, so hopefully we're not too loud. But figure out what your command center is and then utilize that. If you're all digital, then use something online. I love Google Calendar. Things do not exist and don't happen unless I have put them on my Google Calendar. And I do that intentionally because being self-employed and where my appointments are different times of the day and the week, it's not the same. I need to be able to know, A, where I'm supposed to be and who I'm supposed to be talking to, but B, I'm scheduling in my own time, my own appointments for me, self-care, my personal life. And so it's just necessary. Figure out what structure you need and then create that. When we have that, and you have that sense of achievement, don't forget you are releasing dopamine. And dopamine helps to do what? Manifest and create the serotonin that has to be released. All of these things are very, very helpful together. So create a command center of some kind. All right, a couple minutes, supplements. We kind of talked about this. Vitamin D, magnesium. OMG, magnesium is so important. It's a natural muscle relaxer. It's not like a Xanax, but it tells your body to go from this to be like this. You can take that in through Epsom salt baths, Epsom salt foot baths. You can get a really good magnesium supplement, and you want one that is very absorbable because your bowels are a big muscle, and guess what happens when you put cheap magnesium into your bowels? Yeah, baby. If you've had a colonoscopy, that's what it feels like to take cheap magnesium. So make sure you get one that is very, very absorbable and take it on a regular basis. Eat foods that have magnesium. Dark chocolate. You know what? Dark chocolate is my friend. It's my boo. It's my everything. Almonds, all the nuts, spinach. Those are all magnesium-friendly foods that, again, you're eating for health and wellness, and it's so important. CBD. I am a believer of CBD. Had a wellness store for a little while. I am very cannabis friendly. I believe in the power of cannabis. If you have any questions or need information, do not hesitate to hit me up for that. I'm very passionate about being able to share information with other people. So we've got a couple minutes. Anybody have any questions or thoughts? We've got the Facebook page if you want to be in the Facebook page. We haven't had a lot of conversation because there's not a lot of people in there, but I would love for that to be a really busy, thriving community that we can go beyond the Lunch and Learns and we can talk about other things. So I would really love to add you. If you're okay with that, let me know. Let me have your email address. I can get you invited in so that we can begin to have that community where we are sharing information and we are supporting each other. Any thoughts or questions? I've done a lot of talking today. I had a lot of information to cover. Come on, somebody give me one question, one thought, one idea. What are some more topics you guys want to talk about? We got 3 minutes. So I can write them down in my command center. What are you guys doing for the rest of the day? I have to write down my vision board. So, thoughts on melatonin. Mentioned Yogi Approved as a free resource for yoga. Their website is not free, but they have lots of videos available on YouTube. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. My thoughts on melatonin. Remember, melatonin is a hormone. So if you take melatonin, guess what you're telling your body? You're telling your body, you don't have to make this because I'm going to put it into my body myself. So I'm not saying to stop it if you take it. I'm saying be intentional about getting yourself weaned off of it. Once you begin to incorporate some other things in your world, there's some other herbals that are much more natural, that are herbals versus hormones. If you want that information, I can provide that to you. But you don't want to continue to supply your body with a hormone and not allow it to produce it on its own because it thinks it doesn't need to anymore. We can talk more about that at some point if you want to, but those are my thoughts. And I know it's very, very widely suggested to take it, but we live in a society that puts Band-Aids on things rather than dealing with the source of the issue. Okay. Well, let me know when you want to chat about that, or working with you one-on-one. I've been trying to do many of these things as the weather gets colder here in Missouri. I know, it's tough. It's super tough. But remember, there's a lot of things you can do indoors. So don't focus on what you don't have control over. Focus on what you do have control over. You know, all of those things are things that you have control over at some level. What you eat, you definitely have control over that. You have definite control over your amount of electronics intake. So there are a lot of things. Write out a list of what you can control versus what you can't control, and then focus on those things that you can control. So next week we're going to be talking about focus and being able to kind of wrap that up a little bit. So any other subjects or thoughts? Bailey says, I'm really benefiting from mindful relaxation and elks in the park. Nice. There is an app called All Trails. It is a wonderful app. If you like to hike and get out in the woods, it has all the information you could possibly need for hiking. Awesome. I'm liking that new profile picture, Bailey. That's cute. Very cute. All right. Any other subjects you guys would like to talk about, or information, or things you want to share? If you want to be in the Facebook group, let me know. Want that to be thriving and moving along and chatting all the time, and support. Because I'll probably transition some of this into the Facebook group. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so glad you are here. And I will see you next week. Hit me up if you have any questions or want to chat. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.